Hey, what's going on, good people? It's Gardner Douglas, your oyster ninja. I'm here with the one and only Mr. Lane Zirlott of Murder Point Oyster. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? Stoked, man. I'm stoked to be here with the ninja song. What's going on?
Nothing's going on, man. Just this, this environment we're in, and I don't know if you got anything to your side or anything, but cheers.
Hey, we good right now, but it's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
No doubt, no doubt. So, man, tell me a little bit about Murder Point, man. The location, the type of oysters you have, all that good classic stuff.
All right. Well, Murder Point is a southern grown oyster. We're grown in the state of Alabama, the Mississippi Sound. We're a classic Virginica oyster. We range anywhere between 15 to 28 parts per thousand. Rich, creamy, buttery, with just a little blast of salt. We'll run anywhere from 2.5 to 2 3/4 as far as size. Just really a one-shot cocktail oyster. Best way to describe it.
Nice. And what body of water is your oysters in?
So we'll be considered we're in Sandy Bay, but it's connected to the Mississippi Sound.
Okay, got you. Nice. So what are your oysters compared to as far as salinity, or does it just set itself apart from everybody else?
Uh I we're mid-level salinity range, so we get compared a lot to the Beausoleils out of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I hear a lot. So you get a salt. So everything we do, we hashtag butter. And just like butter, man, if you get too much salt, it kind of ruins the butter. But at the same time, if you don't have enough salt in the butter, it also ruins the butter. It takes just the right amount of salt to make the butter good. And that's
No
the
doubt.
same way with us, man. You don't have to have an overbearing amount of salt, but it does take a little bit of salt. So we want you to taste everything. We want you to taste the flavor profiles. We want you to taste everything that makes up the makeup and the composure in the bay right there. Just everything that plays and influences the taste of the oyster. But if you get too much salt, you can't taste those things. So, we like to say we're a good balance. We're a good balance. You get a little blast of salt right up front, and then that rich, creamy, buttery aftertaste right there on the back of your palate. It's just, like we say, Murder Point Oysters. Oysters
No
worth
doubt.
killing for. Once you've had one, man, you'll know why.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, man, how did y'all even, like, how long has the farm been harvesting oysters? Like, how'd y'all start?
So we got started in 2012. We actually got started by accident. It's a family business. So mom worked with a organization in our local town that worked with commercial fisheries. So she worked with shrimpers, she worked with crabbers, she worked with oystermen, and it was a organization that reached out to all the commercial guys. Auburn University come to town and wanted to do a aquaculture program to commercial guys. Well, they actually targeted commercial oystermen, but nobody really signed up to the program. Mom seen the program, seen Auburn was connected with it. It looked to be really good, and she hated it for it to go to waste and nobody signed up. So they were commercial. So her and my dad signed up. At the time, we have 200-foot Gulf shrimp boats. And so by trade, I'm a shrimper.
Okay.
And so I was on the boats. They went through the class. Met Bill Walton. He was the guy with Auburn that come in and set it up, got it going. They loved it, man. They loved the class. They loved the whole program. But they seen right off the bat it was going to take volume to do anything. So I come in from a trip. They said, "Hey, Lane, why don't you come look and just check this out? It's something we found. Come look at it and see what you think. Maybe you can transition in and work from the land, kind of manage the boats and do this oyster farming thing in the meantime." Well, sure enough, I kind of took the class, kind of fell in love with it the same way. And once I stepped off a boat in 2012, I never looked back, never seen a boat again. We just got so consumed in this, and it just kind of overtook what we were doing. And it just became the focal point so fast of who we were and what we were doing that we still got the boats, but I'm no longer a part of the boats. I concentrate on the oyster farm side of things and, just kind of pushed it from there.
Oh man, that's crazy, man. That's a nice history. And you said Bill Walton, is that like the East Coast shellfish guy?
He is, he come from Massachusetts. So he's with Auburn University now. They brought him in to get this aquaculture program up and going as far as the oyster side of it. So he has a little background in, he actually used to have a farm.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with a couple government agencies out of Massachusetts. He's a professor now, and he come down to Auburn and kind of got the oyster thing going down here in the South.
Okay, got you. So, how many oysters are y'all pushing out now, man?
We've got right at 7 million oysters in the water this year.
Sheesh.
I don't know that I'll push that many just because of the state of flux we're in right now.
Right.
But we've got 7 million in the water.
Now, how does that affect y'all? Because I know, you guys don't have that end market, same as, a pig farm or chicken farm would be. So how does that really affect y'all just sitting on the oysters, I guess, or cut back anyway?
Well, we're definitely going to find different ways to market after this because things are growing. They're getting a little bigger than our target range. Our closest metropolitan is New Orleans, and then our second closest would be Atlanta. So, we're with them two guys kind of shut down right now. We're just kind of in a holding pattern, but we also have a hatchery. So we're spawning oysters right now also. So we still got our hands full, and we'll see what happens here the next couple of weeks. It's getting ready to get really interesting. But right now, we're still on track. We're not moving anything in comparison to what we was this time last year, but I right now I feel like we're going to be okay. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks, but right now nothing's gravely changed, except for we're just not putting anything to market like we was in comparison to last year.
Right. Now, I think you mentioned, it's family owned and family operated. So, like, far as that part is it is a lot more people like sitting around instead of like actually out there working, or you still finding stuff to do, everybody?
So actually we were in the middle of expansion. So we shut down as far as personally, we quit selling to distributors around December 25th of this past December. And we just was concentrating on putting in 6 more acres of infrastructure, building that many baskets, just everything that goes along with adding 6 more acres of infrastructure. So we were focusing on that, and we figured springtime, everything would be ready to roll. It would be our time to shine,
right? And
blow it up come spring. Well, you know what happened? Come spring, the world's in disarray. Nothing's moving. But we've actually, man, it gave us a time to just get all our cash off the street. Any distributors that owed us money, we got the money in. Everything was okay. And we were just concentrating on putting infrastructure in, putting pipe in the ground, putting lines up, building baskets, doing that kind of thing. So up until now, everything's been on track, so to speak, because we were focusing on expanding. We were focusing on that kind of thing and just kind of geared towards that. So like I said, the next couple of weeks is going to get interesting. So far, everybody's good. Everybody's on track. Mom was down at the storefront today. We moved a handful of oysters. People are starting to move around in this area a little bit, getting out, moving around. So that's good. That was encouraging. So right now, everything's good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. So far as like collecting that money, did you have to do it Murder Point style or?
Nah, man. We work with Evans Meats, Inland Seafood, New Orleans. Some guys are really, really good. Really on time. Really pushing the paper to us. So everything was good. Didn't have to get Murder Point style just yet.
No doubt. So just talking about Murder Point, like where did that name come from, man?
Well, Murder Point is the actual place here in Alabama. It used to be called Murder Point, like the bush,
Mm-hmm.
1929, two men got in an argument over the rights to the lease at Murder Point. One guy come back the next evening and killed the other guy with a shotgun.
Goodness
And from
gracious.
that time going forward, they called it Murder Point. So we took the name Murder Point and just hit it with a tagline, "Oysters worth killing for," and it's worked out really well for us.
No doubt, man. Sheesh, that's crazy, man. But I'm sure you get asked that all the time.
Yeah, it's a point of topic for sure.
Right.
Robert Jacobson, he said it stuck out to him, and it was a name he couldn't forget.
So how hard was, like, did y'all just like, all right, we got to come up with a name for these oysters, guys? What we gonna come up with? Was it like instantly Murder Point? Did you have like some trial and error? Or?
I'd have to give all the credit to my mom. My mom picked the name out.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple names that was in consideration, but we have a background of shrimpers. We shrimp anywhere from the Texas-Mexico border up to North Carolina, and we can unload anywhere in between. People want our product, but nobody knows. If you bought some shrimp from wherever, you wouldn't know if you was getting shrimp off my boat or you was getting shrimp from wherever,
Right.
because there's no story on that side.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew going into this, we was going to be able to tell a story. And so we knew the name was going to be important because, there's creeks and there's this and there's that, but, you could get lost in the name if you're not careful. So we knew we wanted something that stood out. But at the same time, man, you're dealing with oysters. And people are kind of standoffish towards oysters just because that's the nature of the beast. So,
right.
You had to find and we went a little more on the daring side.
No
the
doubt.
tame side, no doubt. But it's so far it's worked out for us, man. It's been good. It's been good. And so, but we knew we had to tell a story. We knew we had to get in there, and it's never been done in the South at the time. We was kind of first on the scene. And so we knew, coming from the South, considered warm water, considered all these things that come along with the South. We had to meet the standard, and not just meet the standard. We know we had to go beyond the standard, and we know we had to do it just that much better. And so, hey, it is warm water 6 months out of the year, but we just pulled our wetsuits off like a week ago. The water's cool, about 6 months of the year. But hey, there's this thing called refrigeration nowadays. And, the way we have our farm set up, we're land-based in the sense that we have a pier running out to the farm. It takes us about 30 minutes tops. We can have oysters out of the water and into mechanical refrigeration. So, when you're getting something from Murder Point, you know that, hey, it's got a family name on it. It's looked after as such. It's took care of with pride. It's, it's there's the emphasis put on it to be the best that it can be. And so that's from day one when we spawn it, because we have our own hatchery, to the last day it's in the water before we harvest it. And even during harvest, we're always thinking about what it means to be a Murder Point, what it means to have something with your name on it, and the quality, and just the showmanship of it. Let's take care of it. Let's get it. Let's let it be the best it can be. So when somebody's buying a Murder Point, they know that they can follow the story. They can kind of feel attached to the oyster, kind of know who the people are, and say, hey, I'm getting a good product because I know a little bit of history about it.
So how hard was it starting off in the beginning, man? Because like you said, nobody else was doing it. It's already a negative connotation attached to oysters with the warm water and everything. Like, was it that hard, like, far as like, producing or pushing oysters out?
I can't say it was terribly hard.
Okay.
Because we put out a good product.
Right.
And so, I'm kind of the thought of a rising tide floats all boats. So, I think we could have ruined it right off the bat, or we could have made it good right off the bat. And our goal was to make it good. And so, we put out a good product. People seen it, they tasted it, they loved it. It was unlike anything coming out of the Gulf at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing else like it. So, because it was good, people accepted it. And I think it could have went the opposite way just as easily if it had been bad. But because it was good, because you could see the love and you could see the dedication in it, it went. It was accepted and it went.
Right. So, what was I gonna say? So having your own hatchery, with the oyster farm and everything, How does that set that? Yeah, how does that set you apart from like other oyster growers?
Well,
Does
for
that give you a
one,
leg up, or?
well, it ensures I'm going to have seed. So I don't have to go get in line to get seed. We're going to have seed. If anybody has seed, we're going to have seed.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing. So we were, for 2 years in a row, we were behind getting seed. And we knew to stay in the game, man, we had to have a good source and a steady source of seed. So that's why we kind of went into the hatchery side of it. And it just kind of grew from there. So we ended up putting like 86% of the seed in the Gulf last year through L3 hatchery. And it just, it just gives you that much, ability to really tune in what you're doing. So now I get to pick the parents of my oysters. I get to pick the traits that I like, the deep cups, the fan, the shapes that I like, the traits and the personalities that I want in my oysters. I get to pick them out in the parents. And
Nice.
so, it just gives you that much more control over your product and that much more say-so. These are definitely wild animals, but, you can still influence it and you can still, kind of push it to develop in a certain way. And it starts with picking the parents. And it just gives you another layer of say and influence. So it's big. And like I said, if nobody else gets seed, we're going to get seed. It ensures us seed for next year. So, and then it's become a pretty good revenue for us. Right now we're not pushing a whole bunch of stuff out because all the restaurants are closed down and such, but people still need seed for next year. You got to have seed in the water to ensure next year's crop. So it's able to keep everybody on the payroll. It's able to keep pushing. We're still able to go forward just through the seed side right now. So it's been big for us. It's been big. And we've been able to help a lot of guys out. L3 gave away over 2 million seed last year to farmers. We're interested in the Southern farming happening. We want it to go, we want it to thrive, and that takes seed. So we gave away a little over 2 million seed last year to different farmers. L3 got the seed you need, baby. Let's have a lot of fun, but it's definitely a critical part of what we're doing.
So, like, is it that, can you tell that much? I mean, because you guys are really hands-on, like you said, with saying, I want this male or this female or this parent. Like, is it over the years, can you tell, like, all right, so we got the right shape of the, oyster that we want. Now we're gonna, look at something else. Like, can you see from year to year how your hand selection is, like, improve the oyster quality?
You can. So what you start looking for is, once you get the shape that you want, you get the fan that you want, you can play with the color of the shell just slightly. So we're known for the purple in our shell.
Wow.
Another
Okay.
thing is on the hinge. So you can get a back bend on the hinge. I'm sure you've seen a hinge that's pointed down.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes. So, you can start playing with little minute details like that. You can start spawning and breeding for the hinge shape.
That is
So yeah,
crazy, man.
yeah. We're trying to push the envelope a little bit and see what we really can do. Right now, the guys in Florida are having trouble because it is a little warmer in Florida, and it's a lot of heat over there. So we've brought in some Texas brood stock. We're trying to develop an oyster that has the genetics to handle the heat. So, there's a lot of things, man, and try not to get too nerdy on you and try to get too deep in detail, but
Please
there's a
do.
lot of
Please
things
do.
that you can do to really just kind of customize it to the area that you're growing in, because you want somebody that's used to the heat. So, we went down to Texas. We got some wild brew stock. Them guys are running about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than us on the average. The water, so that animal is used to the heat, is used to the warm. So we pull some stuff out of there. Our tetraploid line is coming from Louisiana. So, we got a little mix of Louisiana in there, and we're trying to develop an oyster that's going to be adequate, that can handle the water over there in Florida. So, yeah, man, there's a lot going on.
That's freaking huge, man. Like, I had no idea, like, you could kind of manipulate, the type of oyster you wanted like that.
Yeah, to a certain extent, man. You can have a lot of say, man. You can have a lot of
Right.
say.
So, how's the water quality down there? Because, like, you know, you do have a lot of oysters down there. You say, like, was it 8 million, 7 million?
Yeah, we got 7 million in the water right now. So, so far right now, where we're growing in Sandy Bay, we've never failed a water quality test from the state health department. We're not connected to any other source like a river or anything that can run upland pollutants into it. So
Right.
it's a pretty natural purity source. The stream's pure. And we've got a really, really good location, really, really good spot. So right now, as of today, man, we've never failed a test as far as water quality. Never failed a fecal content matter test. Never failed anything like that. We're in a good spot, man. We got a little hidden little place, and it's good. It's good.
No doubt. Top secret.
That's right.
Hey, so can you just talk about a little bit about the shrimp boat, man? Because, like, I've never heard about anybody. I mean, of course, I know it's out there, but, like, far as talking to somebody or knowing somebody, no clue on how that even works.
Yeah, man. So by trade, man, I'm a commercial fisherman. I'm a shrimper. We'd work anywhere from, like I said, from the Texas-Mexico border in the summertime on back up to the North Carolina coast towards the winter catching white shrimp. It just depends on where the shrimp was at, what was moving, where we needed to be. You know, summertime, we kind of would go down into Texas and make a summer trip down in Texas. And then we would blast across the Gulf up the East Coast for the rock shrimp season, going into the fall white shrimp season up on the beach. And then as the winter grew, you know, into the colder months, January, February, we'd move down to the Florida Keys and catch a pink shrimp that's native down there to the Florida Keys. So, you know, it just really, wherever we needed to be, we had the ability to be there. But to be good on a shrimp boat, man, you had to be prepared to be gone for, you know, 20, 25, maybe 30 days at a time.
Wow.
And so you had to be dedicated to it. You know, you had to be on the scene because things are ever changing. Different things were going on, different moon phases, different times of the month. So you had to be on the scene and you had to be there. And you had to be dedicated to the lifestyle and dedicated to and just being there and being on the scene. And you know, I have a wife, had a little boy, had a little girl. You know, little man started playing t-ball. I started wanting to be home. And you know, it just worked out that this oyster thing opened up about the time I needed to be home. So
Right.
it was a smooth transition, but it's another world, man. It's another world. It's another lifestyle. It's good. It's good. But, you know, it just comes a time, man, you get older. It happens to everybody that
No
it's time to
doubt.
transition home to mama and be around the kids.
No doubt about that, man. So how many days are you actually on the water before you catch shrimp?
It just depends on where you're going. So, you know, you could leave here. The town where we port is by the battery. So you could leave by the battery and be working that night. You know, it just depends on where you want to go. And if you was running to Texas, it's about a 3-day run from here. If you were going to Key West, it's about 2.5 days. It just depends on where you was going and what you wanted to do.
That's crazy, man. And, like, what's a big, I don't even know if you call it a harvest. What do you call it when you're getting shrimp? What's a big catch, I guess?
So the boats I was working would hold about 40,000 pounds. So it's about 400 boxes. A box is about 100 pounds. So you could stack it up pretty good. 400 boxes is 40,000 pounds, pretty good trip.
And you just keep them you just keep them refrigerated, or how does that work?
So yeah, there's a freezer system on the boat,
Mm-hmm.
but they also have what they call a brine tank. And so it's water that's about -5 degrees, and you would dip them in that water and it would instantly freeze them. You can put them in there for about maybe 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes tops, and it would quick freeze them. And then you would pull them out and put them in the freezer hold, and you would store them there for the remainder of the trip.
That's crazy. I always wondered about that because I used to work down at the wharf here in DC, and they used to always talk about this quick freezer. And, I'm like,
Yep, IQF.
Of course I said it, I push it out to the customer, but I never knew exactly what does that mean. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's IQF, so individually quick frozen. So you could take that sack of shrimp out, and because it was quick frozen, you could thaw it out, and they would almost look like they were still just alive just a little bit because it freezes them so fast. It kind of just freezes them and just suspends their state. And when you thaw them out, man, it looks like they're almost alive still. It's a really good process to bring in quality seafood.
Cool, man. So I guess right now, how can we get your oysters?
Man, right now, because of the state of the world, we've scaled back. The restaurants are down. Usually before this, we're pushing up the East Coast through inland and Charlotte. We were through the Southeast region with Evans Meats, and then inland in New Orleans. We were pushing into Texas. We would push out to California through the Hog Island guys. They were featuring us at times in their restaurants. We've pushed as far north as Maine. So, just really wherever you're going, we've made one appearance at the Pearl Dive there in D.C.
DC, right.
Just got to ask for us by name. I tell everybody, demand the butter, ask for us. And always, always, always check the tag. You'll have a tag. As the consumer, you have the right to ask for a tag. The tag is supposed to be kept on site for up to 90 days after the last oyster is sold out of that particular sack. Always ask for the tag. Make sure it's a genuine Murder Point. It's got the harvest dates on it, the shipping dates, everything that you need to know to make sure you're getting premium quality shellfish.
Has anybody ever tried, or that you've heard of, try to say, oh, yeah, these are Murder Points, but they're not really Murder Points?
From time to time, that's the great thing about social media. So everybody wants to post a picture. Everybody wants to put stuff out. So, you can sometimes come across a picture that it's not your oyster. You don't have nothing at that particular restaurant. So yeah, it happens. It happens from time to time, but it's not crazy.
Right. What's the weirdest thing you ever pulled up on a boat, like while you were shrimping or whatever?
The weirdest thing. Well, I'll tell you the strangest thing. So we had the ability to go catch royal reds, and royal reds live in water in the depths of 1 mile to 1.5 miles deep. So you're talking 250 fathom, 300 fathom, super deep water. Not a whole lot of guys can get out that deep. We had the ability to do it. And one time we caught, and this is, believe it or not, we caught 55-gallon drums full of cement. But the weird thing about it, it was clearly a shirt out of the top of the cement. And we were thinking somebody got stuck in a barrel and got filled up with cement and got dropped in the deep blue sea. That would be the weirdest thing, I think, the strangest, peculiar thing.
Man, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Wow. Murder Point in the house. Yo, so we got a surprise guest about to hop in here.
Oh, really? Who we got coming?
We're about to see.
Surprise.
Right. Yo. Uh-oh. Connecting the audio.
Boom.
We got Mr. Pelican himself.
The Birdman.
Caught me eating an Oreo.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You got to get some of those double stuffs, the mega stuffs.
What's up?
Nothing, man. We here talking oysters, man.
Oh, John, I didn't even know. I thought I was calling somebody. I didn't know.
Can you
What's
hear
up with that mustache, dog?
Oh,
That the quarantine mustache?
Quarantine stash, change up the look.
No doubt, huh?
Yeah. I can't get hip with it though, man. I can't get hip. I might can do it in between shaving and I guess, and then I'm gonna have to take everything off, man.
Well, I can only grow this and a goatee, nothing else. I don't have to shave any of this. It's all I got.
Man. I always thought I was lucky that I could grow facial hair until I had to start shaving.
You had to deal with it, huh?
Right. So what's going on, man? Tell us about Pelican Oyster, man.
Well, you already know the deal. I'm out here grinding. Got salt on my sleeves right now. Just working the middle till it hurts a little.
Okay, no doubt. Where you located at? Where's your oyster company at?
So yeah, we're in the Gulf of Mexico, Florida coast, right there in the Panhandle. about 60 miles east of Apalachicola, and a little bay called Oyster Bay, very accurately named. There's a couple of us farming down there.
So is Pelican Bay and Murder Point, are y'all competitors? How does that work, man? We got 2 oyster farmers in the house. Like, how does that work? I don't want to start any no problems.
Competitors, man. I'm in trouble. I'm the old fat guy. I'm in trouble, man. I hope we ain't competitors. You know, I think a rising tide floats all boats. So, you know, everybody's not going to know about Murder Point. They're going to hear about Pelican Oysters, but then they start researching oysters, and maybe they'll come across Murder Point, or vice versa. Maybe they've heard about Murder Point, and they start investigating oysters, and they find Pelican Oyster Company. Man, I think that if you look at it as competition, dude, you're going to drive yourself crazy. But if you look at it as a partnership to say, hey, let's get this Southern Oyster thing going. Let's kind of partner in this, and let's push this thing. I think, you know, you're going to have an easier state of well-being. Your mind's going to be at rest. Just a whole fathom of things that's going to work out for you versus looking at it as competition. Look at it. I got to top this guy. I got to be here. I got to do this. I got to do that just to beat this guy. Man, I think you find a partner and you say, hey, let's burn this candle and let's run with it. And so I don't think there's competition in that sense. Man, he's probably got a little self-pride. I got some self-pride. We want to be the best, but at the same time, man, I think that we can look at this thing and say, hey, let's menu partner up, man, and let's scream it. Because, hey, variety is the spice of life, right? So you never walk into one oyster bar and just see one oyster. You walk into a good oyster bar and you see 6, 7, maybe 8, 10 oysters. So, man, you can't fill up the oyster bar by yourself anyway. So why not promote somebody else? Why not say, hey, check out this homeboy right here. Check out this dude. See what he's doing. And it kind of complements, and you kind of can play off each other because, man, it's hard to be at war with everybody. Let's have some friends, man. Let's have some partners, and let's conquer this thing together. That's my viewpoint anyway.
Ooh, let the church say amen. All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm right there. I'm with Lane. You know, we can be competitive but cooperative at the same time. And I think overall there's a huge community as far as oysters goes. And, you know, I see Lane out there hustling, makes me want to work harder. And I'm not working harder to beat him. I'm working harder because, you know, I want to be in business too. And he's right. Like, most of these places have several oysters on the menu. So there ain't no point in me, you know, doing anything dirty and trying to beat anybody anyhow, because most of these chefs want a couple things on there anyhow. So, you know, I consider Lane a friend, and yeah, I want to see him succeed. And I think he would say the same about me.
Absolutely.
I was waiting. I needed to hear it from his mouth.
Oh, man, absolutely. Hey, well, look, man, what you do, man, when you're my age, you find some of these young Thundercats, man, you just got to get on the coattails. You just kind of ride that wave with them. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, they on the gram, they on Facebook. They're conquering these social media platforms, man, that, you know, as a guy that was raised in the 90s, you know, I don't know nothing about really and truly. So, hey, man, you just kind of hope to just get on board and kind of ride the waves. And that's what I'm doing, man. I'm hooking up some young Thundercats and going with it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Thundercat, man, speaking of social media, because I done talked to you a bunch about the way you handle social media, man. Talk a little bit about like how you get on social media and put your presence on there and just kind of kill it, you know, bring something different that no one else is doing, or, you know, making it yours, I guess.
You talking to me?
Yeah, Thundercat. Don't act like you ain't no Thundercat.
Man, you know, I just, I guess, I don't know. I feel like one thing I got that nobody can take from me, or nobody can outdo me in, at least, is
that mustache.
It's this mustache, right? But, you know, you gotta use your talents, you know. And I just feel like people seem to like when I just act goofy, and I feel like you can only post so many pictures of a nicely shucked oyster. So I don't know. One day I just kind of was like, all right, I'm just going to be me. And if people like this, then it's cool. And if they don't like it, I'll just delete this and I'll change the business name and all that stuff. But yeah, man, I just try to show people what I'm doing and just be myself.
No doubt. Well, you started a couple of challenges too, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
I've
if you didn't
started
start
some,
them, you was in them.
and Lane started one, and every once in a while, I think so. Lane started the quarantine dance off early in this, and
Oh, he was
it,
the mastermind.
That's right, baby.
yes,
Hey, oh, a blind squirrel, I still find a nut every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
See, chilling out, talking about these Thundercats out here. He the main one.
Well, yeah, just like he was saying earlier, he was like, "Hey, let's do this," and he knew that I would sit there and obsess over it and spend the next few hours just sending it to everybody. And
Right.
Yeah, that was fun though. We got all the way over to the West Coast. We saw Hama doing it, and it was real cool.
See, I'm not hip, man. I wanted to, and I was like, let me get a couple more drinks in me, and I'll, I'll shake a tail feather. It never happened, man. I can't dance worth nothing, man. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all boys doing it. Y'all made me proud. The oyster shucker looking at y'all oyster farmers. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey man, so just let us know from both of y'all, man, how we can, I guess, help during these times, where we can find your oysters and how we can follow your journey, social media, or however.
I'll let Lane go first.
Man, I guess right now, man, the biggest thing you can do, man, is support your local restaurant that serve oysters, because that's our link, our biggest link to markets is through restaurants. Now, we're kind of dipping our toes maybe into the direct shipping. I'm kind of laying back and watching and trying to get things lined up. So we'll see how that goes, how that comes around for us. But man, support your local guy. Support the guys that support us. I think it's the biggest thing right now. Because hey, the guy that's your doctor, and your mechanic, but do you know the guy that's growing your food? And when you take that in consideration, and you say, hey, you know what? I seen the Birdman. I love that Pelican Oyster. I know what he's doing to his oysters. I know he's taking care of his food. It goes a long ways. And so that's the biggest thing right now. Support your local guy. Support your local farmer. Hey, man, if you're in North Carolina, there's some great farms up there. If you're in South Carolina, there's some great farms down there. Georgia's coming on. Florida's here to stay. Mississippi, Texas is trying to get their act together and coming on. And then, all up the West Coast and further up the East Coast, there's local farmers that you can support, man. Support your local farmer. Hey, man, it's always cool to reach out and get a different flavor, different profile. And hey, I'm very appreciative of people that reach outside the southeastern United States. But man, support your local guys. The biggest thing right now, support your local restaurants that serve oysters. And man, we're gonna get this thing back up and running. And I think it's gonna be on the back of oyster farmers, man. We're not gonna let this thing fold or fall. We're gonna make it happen. So support us, man, and we're gonna get it to your table.
Yeah, I'm doing I'm buying all my produce right now from local farms, and I'm going to the local dudes to get fish and everything, and just all those small businesses are, that's your community, and you're seeing the leaders as far as restaurants, the people that are stepping up, and breweries that are making hand sanitizer, and all the restaurants doing this to go thing. It's got to be so hard, especially for places that didn't do that before. So just keeping it super local right now, I think is the most important thing. Like Lane was saying, I'm kind of messing with shipping oysters right now. I started the first week of quarantine doing direct ship. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I was like, well, might as well use this as the time to try it out. And that's been going really well. And surprisingly, I never really sold much locally. I send everything, up to Atlanta and Nashville, Birmingham. But a lot of local people have been buying oysters recently, and it's been really, been really awesome. So that's what I would say to do.
Have these news articles, because it's been a lot of news articles and, you know, blogs and stuff going out and just saying, you know, hey, reach out to your local oyster farmers, because like and you know what the crazy thing is, I don't know, I see a lot of these articles and stuff because I'm in the oyster community, or if it's because oysters are just that popular, you know what I mean? So like, have these articles and blogs and stuff help you guys out, like getting, like you said, like you're doing a lot more local stuff now?
Yeah, I think it helps out eventually. It might not help you, you know, like what I think it was New York Times just posted Orchard Point or Orchard Pond and a couple of places up in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like we were saying earlier, like somebody might go and buy those, you know, but eventually they might find, you know, some salty birds. They might find the butter babies from Murder Point, like eventually. So, you know, I don't know if any of those articles have helped me yet, but I do think that they're raising awareness of, or the consciousness of oysters, and, you know, getting people into the culture.
Cool. What about you, Lane?
Yeah, man, there's no bad press, right? So I don't think anything hurts. I think it can only help. And, you know, like I said earlier, okay, you go find somebody else, but you keep digging, you know, because once you get a taste of something, hey, man, this is pretty good. Let me go further into it. And you'll come across Murder Point. You'll come across Pelican Oyster. And then, hey, man, you realize you can follow them on Instagram. You can follow the story. You can be a part of them. It just changes the dynamic. You're there. You're on the farm. You're seeing what's going on through social media. You kind of going through the highs and the lows with them. And it just changes your perspective, man. When you can have not input, but when you can be a part of the story almost, and you can see the things and goes on, and it just, man, it just clarifies the situation. It opens the channel of communication. I talk to so many chefs through Instagram. I talk to so many people that's had my oysters in restaurants through Instagram. Whereas before, man, you didn't have that connection. You didn't have that availability maybe to the grower. Maybe you could talk to the processor. Maybe you could talk to the distributor, but you never could really get on that level to talk to the grower. And because of social media, man, you can have that access. You can have that connectability. You can reach out, man. You can talk to people. They can ask you questions. What's the salinity on the farm today? What's happening? What's it look like? What's the growing rate? The growing, the eating, what's going on? You know, which way is the wind blowing? There's so many questions now that you can get answered through social media, man. It just kind of opens the door. So when you get a story in the New York Times, no, it might not have an effect day one, but it trickles down, man. It gets here, it gets there. And then that's why, you know, you got organizations like Oyster South, man. They really can have a voice bigger than mine, you know, but they're telling the same story, and they're getting the word out, and they're pushing the word. And I got to tell you, man, I'm going to tell you where this social media game started for everybody was Beth Walton. Beth Walton kind of partnered with us in the very, very beginning before there was an Oyster South, and kind of got on my Instagram and just told me who to follow and showed me how to post things, and kind of gave me some direction and pushed it. And Beth Walton, which is Bill Walton's wife, was really the start of this, in my opinion, the start of the social media game. And she just kind of showed everybody the rules and how to play it, and how to put it out there and how to push it. So, you know, they don't have to say my name. They don't have to say Cainnon's name. But, man, if you're talking about oysters, people's going to dig. Because, hey, man, you get one glass of wine, you're going to want to check another one out. You know, you get this or you get that, and you like it, you're going to continue more to find out. So, you know, every article don't have to be about me, and every article don't have to say Murder Point. But if it's all quality oysters, man, somebody's going to have one no matter the name of the oyster. And if it's good, they're going to dig. And they're going to find me, baby. And when they find me, man, when they find that butter love, baby, find that salty bird, it's game, dog. It's game. It's over with.
My man. My man. That man know how to close the show, huh? Don't go on behind him.
Hey, baby, child of the 80s, son. Hey, it's one thing you grew up in the 80s, man. You watch professional wrestling, baby, and you know how to cut a promo. You know what I'm saying? That's right. That's right. You know, baby.
No doubt, man. You got any final words, man?
Go ahead, Bird, man.
No, man. I mean, I appreciate y'all letting me Zoom bomb y'all, and it's cool. It's cool seeing what you're doing, man, and you know, giving everybody a voice, and seeing all the different people on the show, and yeah, I'm glad to have the South representing a little Gulf.
Representing. That's what I'm talking about, man. It's my pleasure, man, and I appreciate both of y'all taking times out of your day. You know, Kenya, I guess next time Lane will return the favor, you know. But it's all good, man. It's all love, man. And I love seeing, you know, people come together and work together instead of, you know, fighting and, you know, going separate ways. You know, both of y'all in the South and trying to be productive and do productive things for the oyster culture. And as long as it's for the culture, I'm with you, man. You know what I mean?
See it, baby.
Yes.
No doubt.
I love.
Hey, appreciate y'all again, man. And until the next time, I don't have no last words, man. Y'all did it.
Man, I thought you were going to give me a little bit of knowledge or something, man.
Nope.
Hanging on. I was waiting.
That's what I'm here for, but I'm sorry. I'm good at letting people down, man. I'm getting better, though. I'm getting better.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your platform.
No doubt, of course, man. Y'all be safe, all right?
All right,
Good
buddy.
to see y'all.
All right.
Hey, put that mask on. Put that mask on.
Up 6 feet. Okay, good people. That was a great episode. One of the best exciting I think we've had here in a while. And of course, we had the Zoom bomb at the end, but it was a good bomb. So I hope you guys are enjoying these interviews from the Oyster Ninja podcast. You got your host, me, Gardner Douglas. And yeah, just if you want to hear from somebody or hear someone's story, you know, here on the Oyster Ninja podcast, just shoot me an email at oysterninjapc@gmail.com, and we can see if we can't get you guys and gals on the podcast. Now, I got something. It's a couple of people. Now, I know I got some listeners here who might have some pull. It's a couple people that I'm trying to shoot at. One, Mr. Ron Finley. So if you haven't heard of Mr. Ron Finley, he's called the Gorilla. Hold on. What is it called? The Urban Gardener. But he's called like the Gorilla Gardener or something. Or Gorilla Garden. I don't know. But anyway, what he's doing is like crazy. And now he has like this master gardening class that's just, you know, every time I flip on, you know, my phone or Instagram or Facebook, I see his ad. But that made me like, who is this dude? So I'm trying to get him on the podcast for you guys. Next up, I want to hear from Dr. Sorry. I got all my notes in my little book here. Dr. What's her name? Johnson. Her last name is Johnson. Dr. Johnson. I'm going to tell you, I can't think of her first name. I got it here in my book. But anyway, what she's all about is just a healthy environment. Like just making the world a better daggone place. Now, who isn't about that? It's like I listen to like, I believe every podcast she's been on. I've read like almost all her blogs. Miss Ayana Elizabeth, I'm sorry, Dr. Ayana Elizabeth Johnson. So if we got any pull here, you know, just give me a contact. That's all I need. And I'll do the rest of the work. I mean, if you want to do the legwork, that's cool. But those are like two people I'm trying to get on the podcast. I guess that'd be my goal for 2020. If I don't make it, of course, it'll roll over, but I'm not going to stop fighting. But thank you guys for listening, downloading, sharing, subscribing, all of that good stuff to the Oyster Ninja podcast. And until the next time, y'all be safe and just tell somebody you love them, baby. Peace.